Hello, Fightful Faithful. Welcome to another episode of Sour Graps, the after show party deal thing. It's not really a party anymore. NXT. We used to try and have fun.
Variety show.
Are we allowed to have fun anymore reviewing NXT, Kate?
No.
Or has all the fun been legislated out of NXT?
Yeah, this felt very much like I Will Remember You by Sarah McLachlan should have been playing in the background. This was terrible. This was so bad. And I knew it was going to be bad. And I was like, well, maybe. And they were like, nah.
In the arms of an angel.
This makes me think about the dog adoption commercials.
It does.
I was like, you know what? NXT from Black and Gold to NXT 2.0 was so terrible. It's not going to get worse. And then they were like, psych, we're going to take away Dakota Kai and Malcolm Bivens from you. And Dexter Lumis and Persia Parada.
Don't mind me, I'm reaching for something.
I bet it's sour.
Oh, no, I just want to be prepared for inevitably. I want to be prepared for whenever that has to happen.
Oh, when the Linda has to show up.
I had to find it. There's a lot of things I haven't found since we moved, but I did find
You know what
these.
NXT has not found since you moved? A creative bone in their damn body.
So since we last did one of these Tuesday night shows, they released. Well, let me see. I mean, they released like 10, but almost half of them had never been on TV yet, which is saying something.
Correct.
That like, hey, we brought you in. We know you don't have a lot of in-ring experience, which frankly we see as a bonus because then we don't have to break you of all the bad habits, quote unquote, bad habits that you learned on those indie shows. We can teach you how to be real sports entertainers. So great. We brought you in. You have no experience. What's that? You didn't get really good in the span of a couple of months. You're fired. Get the hell out. We don't want you. Get out. Which feels like it's counterproductive. Like if you're going to bring in people who don't know what they're doing yet, you have to give them the time to figure out what they're doing. And if they can't like pick it up like that, then you have no use for them. It doesn't feel like that's probably the best way of doing things.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's not a great formula for success.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem it.
But
neither does releasing your most over talent. So
right. That's the other thing is that it's either or. Either people who haven't had an opportunity to even fail yet because you didn't put them on TV, or people who have been there forever, given everything, done as much as they possibly could, and you don't have anything good for really great talent. Like that doesn't, neither of those things compute to me. But here's the other thing, Kate, we learned also Roddy Strong wants to get the hell out as well. And why wouldn't he?
No way. You mean when he re-signed to be with his wife who they released? And then they broke up the first faction he was in? And then they took his manager away and are breaking up the second faction that he's in? Why would he possibly want to go? Oh, and took his title away to merge it with another title? Why? Why would that guy want to go anywhere?
I have no idea.
Smooth jazz DJ Alex has no idea. But hey, you know what we didn't do? We didn't tell people to get in their super chats. We didn't tell people to get in their humper chats. We didn't tell people to leave a thumbs up on this video. And we didn't even tell them that this is their NXT post show for May 3rd, brought to them by Blue Chew and Manscaped, which means we get all the penis segues today, Alex.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, if you're manscaping your penis,
you
should probably consult a doctor.
Package situation.
But I mean, but just to be specific, if you're manscaping your penis, you should probably consult a physician, or you are the wolf man. Jake Salazar says, everybody knows the Yas is where you go to learn to be a sports entertainer.
Yeah, you get a Kangol hat.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, that's how you do it. JW Pringle says, we take a deep breath, look into the abyss that NXT 2.0, that is NXT 2.0, and wait for the abyss to look back. Then remember your SGS family, Papa Tall, Paul Elizabeth, the Council of Marks, Kalex, the rest, and the world makes sense again. See? It's nice. It's nice.
I had quite a day. And at many points in my day, I was questioning my own decisions. And one of the decisions was, why did I agree to work somewhere where I have to review this show? And the only reason is because of Alex and because of you. So in one of my many moments of self-doubt today,
yeah,
you guys, you came through for me.
Yeah. This is kind of like a little form of mass hysteria where we all go a little crazy reviewing this show. Mark Quill says, my Tuesdays are not complete without JW Pringle, Kate, Alex, Tall Paul Elizabeth, Buster, Elizabeth, Kate Fabe, and the entire SGS. Bless you all.
Okay, so I don't know if my dad is here because they were visiting my sister in New York.
Why would he be? Why? Honestly.
Why? I mean, he's never watched the show, so I don't know why. Because he's an incredibly supportive dad. I'm a lucky gal. But they were visiting my sister in the city today to help her with some things. So
yeah. So the other thing about this, the whole, by the way, somehow you didn't hear, if you've consumed no wrestling media between the end of our show last week and now, Dakota Kai, Malcolm Bivens, Dexter Lumis, Persia Parada, and Harland are the 5 that I think everybody knows. I'm not missing anybody that was on TV a lot, right?
I don't think so, no.
And the rest of them were like people who had been around but not actually really done anything. Harland, in a cruel joke, was let go because he wasn't progressing in the ring fast enough. Because, like, they given him all those opportunities to, hey, we want you to smash some guys up, and he's not doing it right. And he was like, I think it was on his honeymoon, is what I heard.
Yes.
So that's fun.
And the wedding day to CM Punk just wasn't enough.
No.
Gotta do the honeymoon too. Maybe they can find out someone's pregnant and release them next.
Yeah. Anyway. We
Somebody is Buster Elizabeth in the chat.
It's great. But woof.
Oh, buddy, that made my day.
The other thing that has to happen, though, Kate, is that we discussed this. I think you joined me on a Sunday night edition of the Sour Grap Show over on the Fightful Select. By the way, subscribe to Fightful Select, $5 a month.
I broke AEW gaming news over there for all you gaming nerds.
There you go. So we talked about how Dakota Kai kind of had a complete arc. Like she won the titles with Raquel again. She had been taught to learn how to trust again by Wendy Choo. And now she and Raquel became best friends again. Won back the titles. They were the first ever women's tag team champions. They won back those titles, lost them. Her best friend got injured, and she tried to get revenge by beating Mandy Rose. She lost that match, and therefore her arc was complete. There's no need to write her off the show. However, we still, like, Harlan just went off and got married, went on a honeymoon, but Joe Gacy's never mentioned him since he's been gone. That guy's kind of been out of sight, out of mind for about a month. Okay, fine. But Malcolm Bivens is in the middle of a diamond mine like storyline that's going on. Like, that's a major storyline. He's in the middle of it. And also, there's an ongoing storyline where Indi and Dexter are married. So Dexter released, Indi still employed. And Duke and Persia Parada are dating. And there's like this weird frenemies thing where, like, the two women are like, they're best friends, but they kind of hate each other, and they're pitting their men against each other, but also put them together as a tag team to try and become champions. It's an ongoing thing that's been going on literally for months now. And they just broke up two different couples in the middle of this thing. If they had fired both members of a couple, then you could easily just say, hey, that one other couple that's still intact, they won. But you fired one half of both couples. And now with the Bivens thing and also Dexter and Frazier being fired, now it became a thing of how is creative going to figure out a way to get around this? How are they going to address it?
By not addressing it.
I mean, or doing it in the, like, they didn't. Malcolm was just absent from all of the goings on with Diamond Mine. There was one moment where Roddy said to the Creeds and Ivy Nile, hey, look around. I'm the leader. Which I guess means is look around, you won't see Malcolm Bivens. He's not here anymore. The implication being is I kicked his ass to the curb because he was questioning me. But they're not allowed to even like give him the dialogue that would signify that. So all he says is, look around, I'm in charge here, and that's it. There's no real mention of Bivens. But the one that really got under my skin, Kate, was the one of Indi backstage in the locker room, looking at her left ring finger, which doesn't have a ring on it anymore, and being kind of sad. Like, the best I can say is that she was being kind of sad about the fact that there was no longer a ring on her ring finger. And then in walks Duke Hudson, and he's also kind of sad that the girl who had been dating is also not there. And they just stood up, looked at each other. This is all wordless. They haven't said a thing. And then he kind of leans in to kiss Indi, and she says, no way. He says, in your dreams, and they walk off. That's it. And guess it was a comedy segment. Get it? It's funny because you fired half of the act that's going on. And that just seemed just really tone deaf to me.
There are a lot of things that were extremely tone deaf about, I think, all of it. I don't know how you can't figure out a way to write off a manager from in a segment where y'all were breaking up anyway. It's so stupid to just not acknowledge it, especially when it seemed like they were building out tensions between Roddy, who requested his release, and it was not granted, and the Creeds. Yeah. So if you're going to build out that tension, you can't just not acknowledge why that tension exists, right? Malcolm Bivens not being there is the reason that tension exists. So you can't have it both ways. And then the Indi and Duke stuff is more egregious because Dexter Lumis was an almost serial killer kind of dude who at their wedding had an axe on the inside of his jacket and was going to kill anybody that objected. And now he's just gone. And Indi's like,
Yeah.
You cannot have that outlandish of a character and not really acknowledge their absence. And by the way, that's just insulting to do to talent, to just pretend. That's just fucked up.
Yeah, that's bad. That was. I don't understand why we can't just.
Because they don't care. This all boils down to them not caring. They don't care about the ratings anymore. You know what ratings are a code for? They don't care about who's tuning in every week. And we already knew that. So just come out and say it, guys. Just come out and tell us the truth. Because if you don't really care about the ratings anymore and USA is happy with them, you're fine with the 600,000 people that are 65 and older that tune in every week. And we already knew you didn't care, but you don't care through your championships. You don't care through your wins and losses. You don't care through how much screen time you're giving talent, right?
Yeah.
So what are we doing then here? Why should I watch your product? If it's just to see how Vince McMahon feels about people, take it off television because it's an insult to your viewers. This is trash. This is absolute trash, and I'm so not here for it. And we're going to get into their big spring break-in non-pay-per-view, pay-per-view trash that they put on tonight. Yeah. But for them to have also released a bunch of talent last week going into this event is really, really dumb for so many reasons.
Yeah.
Every layer of this product has become, and it's heartbreaking, and it's so unfair to the talent on both the released talent and the talent that's still there. Because, buddy, if you don't think that Indi Hartwell and Duke Hudson are now lost, you're wrong. If you don't think that the Creeds needed Malcolm Bivens tonight, you're wrong. Sorry, if you don't think that Dakota Kai would be a better use of time than Mandy Rose getting a sunburn, you're wrong. Yeah. No to all of this.
Yeah.
Back to you.
Yeah. So Nerd Guru says, so in kayfabe, Indi and Dexter are divorced. That's so fucked up, says Nerd Guru. Keep in mind that their wedding was the first goddamn main event of the pilot episode of this rainbow-colored shit show. Feels so bad for all involved. Yeah, that was the biggest angle they had going at the time.
It was the best outfits we ever had.
Yeah, it's true. I still got that wig somewhere packed away. Got to break that out again sometime. Maybe for the anniversary. Maybe this September for the anniversary. So Graham B says, Kate, firing artillery is the best, Kate.
I wish I didn't want to week after week. But when it comes to the treatment of talent, that's where it starts to really get that's the time that I'm most sincerely emotive, is because I said it on Sunday. It's like a rat race and they keep moving the cheese. They fired a bunch of people for being really good at their jobs. It's frustrating.
Yeah. Yes, it is frustrating. I know that some of the creative were frustrated because they were like, well, what do we do now with this angle we've been running since, I don't know, they got married in September. So the whole Indi and Dexter, are they actually going to get together thing? That goes back almost a full year.
Johnny Gargano was still here.
Oh yeah, he was still very, very, very much here. I would be very interested to see the very first time that Indi and Dexter interacted. It might be 11 and a half months. That's how long they've been paying this angle off, and then just nope, poof, gone. Yeah, crazy.
Think about how much of the way is gone now. All of it.
Yes. This is not the way. Mr. Wax says, first time watching NXT in a while. That was a mistake. Is this, Kalex, the worst WWE product of all time? Thanks for everything you all do. Yes. I mean, Smackdown is just so bad. It's just so bad right now. But NXT, I feel like they don't know what they are. I feel like they have no clue what they're trying. Are you developmental? Well, if you're developmental, why are you firing people while they're developing? Are you not developmental because you're bringing down all these people from the main roster to have weird angles where they're just kind of getting in the way of progress? I don't know. It's not good. I will say that. Matthew Plus. This one says this person's name is Matthew Plus Sucks. Matthew Plus, of course, is the person, if you don't know, is trolls the show all the time.
He's a heel.
He says, love you guys. Matthew Plus Sucks says, love you guys. Didn't watch the show because I never do, but I can't wait to hear what y'all have to say. Matthew Plus has also sent in something saying, someone told me that Harry Yazawa claims I owe him a $1 menu item. I genuinely don't know why I would. Hit me up on Twitter and don't bother messaging me here because I'm not watching this trash on YouTube, nor will I listen tomorrow. Oh, and hashtag boycott SGS. Well, thank you for your money.
Thanks Matthew for Plus. The money. I think it was Harry Yazawa. Someone said that Matthew Plus, I think, owed because they super chatted about him that they could have used that money, that $2 to buy something on the $1 menu. That's so right. Pay up, Matthew Plus.
Yeah.
Plus.
Denise Dan says, Denise Salsade who? This is the only post NXT 2.0 review show for those of us who don't actually watch. Thanks for all of you guys that all you do, guys. Kate and Alex rock. Yeah, we try and make it at least entertaining.
What a badge of honor. Yeah, what a badge of honor. We don't watch the show, but we watch you.
Caden, who is driving from Florida to Texas. Sent in something. I hope not while not actually driving.
You better not.
That's
sir.
dangerous.
You better have said that.
You better have pulled over at a rest stop.
That better have been sent from a mobile gas station where you got yourself Twizzlers and some caffeine to push you through the drive. Driving and super chatting or humping.
Caden says, thanks for entertaining me on hour 14 of my drive. And he spelled thanks THX, so he might actually just be
Don't do that. Or he might have been saving characters.
Do not super chat and drive.
Do not.
Just don't do it. That's
gonna be a PSA. Can we do it like a 90s commercial? Like, hey man.
This is actually a great idea. The NNH. At this point, I'm expecting WWE to do like the soaps and just say, now playing the role of, and have another person show up. I feel like they could, considering they own most of the names. That's very true. They did that for a while with fake Razor Ramon and fake Diesel back in the mid-90s.
And the Sin Caras. And they treat everybody like they're replaceable. Why not go the full 9 yards?
Yeah. Yes. Andrew Dautry says, thanks for watching this mess while I watched MTV reality garbage. I think I got the better deal. Oh, of course.
What MTV garbage did you watch?
Yeah. I'm sure we'll have to watch it at some point ourselves. Bazorkin says they decided to change developmental into a crapshoot. Keep rolling the dice and hope you hit the jackpot with a star who survives the crucible that is NXT 2.0. They've hit the jackpot, well, currently. Let's see if they flush that down the toilet with Breakker coming up. But they've hit the jackpot with him.
They've tried. They've tried with their horny druids. Have they ever tried?
So we'll see what they do to screw it. But yeah. Chris Muller says, I boycotted this week's show by falling asleep and not waking up in time to see it. But I am going to claim it was in the name of Bivens. How was it? It wasn't great, Chris.
It was sorely lacking. I'm glad you taking a snooze is the same thing that would have happened if you tried to watch the show. So there you go.
Let's talk about the actual show now. 22 minutes into the actual hour
talk
review.
About it. Yeah.
Started out with a preview with like a little stinger. What is that? What they call it? There's a little introduction to the show. With what are they called? Yes Boys? The Yes Boys. The Yes Boys.
Yes Boys.
Yes Boys. Pretty deadly. I honestly did not remember their name. I'm tired of them.
It's kind of like the Ass Boys, though. They're really the Gun Club, but they're the Ass Boys.
Yeah.
If we were doing the SATs, it would be like Gun Club is to Ass Boys.
They were
pretty deadly as to them.
They were poolside to introduce us to what's happening.
Lots of pool on the NXT.
I forgot until this segment that this was a special edition of NXT called Spring Breakin. And I will never forgive them for not putting the extra K in Spring Breakin.
Never.
Because it's too easy. They should have done it. I
think they forgot this was a special episode too.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know what to say about this. You put the titles on these guys. It feels like a month and a half ago, even though it was only like 3 weeks ago. And they haven't done it. Like, I guess they did have that defense against Dexter and Duke. But like that feels like a distant memory as well. What is the angle with these guys? What are we doing here? They seem to not like the Creed brothers. But I don't know what else we're doing with these guys.
Well, they can't feud with the Creed brothers because if they have the Creeds lose again,
like
they're tied up in this thing with Roddy. So what are you gonna do? Like, who are they gonna face? The Viking Raiders next week or something? We got like a little tease for that. Woohoo!
So anyway, we start off the night with the best match on the show. I think pretty easily. Yeah. Am I missing anything? Was anything else good?
No, this match ruled. I liked Creeds versus Viking Raiders, but this was match of the night by far for me.
Carmelo Hayes, Cameron Grimes, Solo Sikoa for the North American Championship. Everybody got to look stellar. Solo Sikoa is massively over. Massively over. And I contend should have been on the main roster 2 months ago. And if God, it would have been such an easy thing to do too if they hadn't done this stupid. Let's turn a tag team title unification match into a meaningless 6-man tag. If they had the Usos lose the titles, the SmackDown titles to RK Bro, then you just bring up Solo Sikoa and have Roman be super pissed at the Usos and say, "You guys are on the bench. I brought in some real muscle. And this guy is going to do what you can't. Watch my back and take out the people I don't like." And that's what you do with Solo Sikoa. It's perfect. It's perfect. And now I don't know if they're going to do that, but whatever.
The bloodline has gotten so stale. They should call him up and do something with him. If not that, something else. Like, get him up there. The one story you care about is already dying of oxygen. Like, I know Raw has some new blood in it, but like SmackDown is hanging on by a thread. Like, the momentum swing is so weird. After the draft, it was all SmackDown, and now it feels like all the star power that they have is on Raw. Yeah. And and SmackDown is getting weaker by the second. Like, do something to make that interesting, because it's not.
Yeah.
But the match was great. The match was great. Solo Sikoa's power bomb of oh my God, what's his name?
Carmelo?
The A-Champ. Carmelo. Holy cow. Who, we get it. He sells like Shawn Michaels. His power bomb of him onto Cameron Grimes was fantastic. The splash off the top ropes, that sold me a ticket because that was at like 2.99 that Mello broke up that pin. I thought this was a great opener, and it was the only match I was excited for, so I knew the show was going to be downhill from there.
Yeah, so Sikoa, Luis reminded me here, our wonderful mod, that spinning Uranagi that he hit on Carmelo was insane, and he should finish dudes with that. Like, I know he's Samoan, so he has to do a Samoan drop. He should finish guys with the Uranagi. He should plant them with the Uranagi in the spot he wants them for his big splash. If you insist on all Samoans either finishing people with Samoan drops or big splashes, this thing that sets him apart is that Uranagi, because that thing was amazing. And I did not think that Solo should have been pinned because of how massively over he was, and I think you need to keep him strong so that you can build off of him being so massively over. I think you had to call the audible here. He had Carmelo up on his shoulders in spot to do the Samoan drop, and then he got caved in by Cameron Grimes off the top rope, which forced him to Samoan drop Carmelo. And Cameron Grimes had his choice of who he was going to pin there because both guys were out. And he pinned Solo. And that's the only thing I didn't love about the finish, because I love when a guy is doing his finisher to somebody and then gets a finisher done onto him, which like turns the finisher he did to the first guy into a mega finisher. Love that stuff.
The finishiest. It's so much fun. I love that.
So finished.
My only thinking is that maybe we're gonna get Carmelo and Bron now that the stupid crap with Gacy is over. So maybe you don't want him in going into that program, but I completely understand your complaint. And I think I knew Blonduso was over. I knew Solo Sikoa was over. I think today was like, whoa, the most over he's ever been. And he's fantastic. Like, he does a lot of really unique stuff that I feel like stands out on this program. He is a brick house too. Like, I knew he was like a bigger dude, but man, like, he uses every single pound that he has on him to exert force, and it hits hard. I really like him a lot.
Yeah. Mark Quill says, I'm sure Kate would love to hear that her Yankees won. And even though it was at the expense of my team, that should make her happier than NXT did. Well, anything's going to make her happier than NXT did.
Yes, but I am very happy my Yankees won. They are on a hell of a streak, and they're never going to lose again.
Yeah. The Nerd Guru says, the Usos should have helped Solo win this. Even that little thing would have added some intrigue to the bloodline. Anything to get something new. And then Chris Pereira says, bringing Blonde Uso up to interfere and help his older brothers win the unified tag titles is right there. How do you screw that up? Both things are possible.
It is. I feel like the Usos coming down to NXT when they're already on both Raw and SmackDown is a lot. So my thinking is if you're gonna do it right to pull up Solo Sikoa, especially because you want people going up and not other people coming down more often than not. You want boats coming down.
Yeah, only boats. Only boats are allowed to dock in NXT. Matthew Plus Sucks says Matthew Plus is a poser. If he boycotted the show, then how does he know about me, Clown Streaming Service, which I think we've now outed Matthew Plus Sucks as Harry Yazawa.
Ooh.
Harry Yazawa is the man behind the Matthew Plus Sucks.
Who is Buster?
I don't know.
Is he? No, he is. He's sitting right behind me, so he's not.
He's not set it in.
He's not on his phone. He's always on his phone. You know, always. Kids. Get a job if you're going to send in super chats.
These kids today always on their phones. These dogs are always on their phones now. Everybody's got a phone. Everybody and their dog has got a phone.
Everybody and their dog on the apps. They're always on the apps.
Always on the apps. Jake Salazar says boats and hose.
That's the NXT women's division right now.
Boats and hose, man. Boats and hose. Jake Salazar says that SmackDown is on a ventilator. Yeah, they're not doing so well right now. Okay, so
it's the Catalina Chance wine mixer.
Yeah. So Cameron Grimes wins. He retains. We'll see where they go. I'm still holding out hope for Tony D becoming the Italian American champion. I think it would be so good. I'm never gonna stop hoping. Okay.
So the show was like here, right? Mm-hmm. At this point, and then it went.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then
Mark Quill says new idea for a sour grap segment, the NXT rap sheet, where you guys just run down the list of crimes that happen every week on the crime-infested, horny-ass hellhole that is NXT 2.0. And speaking of which, Mandy Rose...
God grant me the serenity.
Mandy Rose went to the tanning salon so she could get a nice base before she went to the beach. And so she gets in this giant... looked like a friggin' an escape pod on a spaceship. This ridiculously futuristic looking tanning bed, and she gets in there and she's a regular there, by the way. Hello,
Mandy. Call her Champ. Yeah. And did you see what she
Champ.
Grabbed up front?
Yes. Little yeah.
Come the on. She grabs one of those Playboy Bunny stencils.
Yep. Yes.
Because girls used to stencil themselves in tanning salons.
Yes.
In 1999. This is when they used to do that. Nobody does that in 2 decades. Nobody even goes to tanning salons that aren't the spray ones anymore for the most part, I feel like, right? Don't they?
You know, because skin cancer is a thing. Nobody
was. That was my senior prom. People were doing that shit. She got a Playboy stencil.
Matthew Plus Sucks sent in super chat, Humper Chat saying, "Nope, sorry, Kalex, wrong. I shall reveal myself in due time."
Dewdrop is super chatting the show.
Interesting.
Do you think it's Matthew Plus working himself?
It could be. It's his burner. It's his burner. It's Matthew Plus's burner. So she goes and she gets in this tanning bed, and then
with her skin stencil.
It's very important. It's a very important detail that you've added to the recap of this. And then I guess Wendy Choo snuck in the back, and she's wearing her full-on adult jammies shark costume thing, and carrying a giant pillow.
It's her beachwear.
It's her beachwear. And she goes in and she stands in front of the little thing that is, I don't know, the controls for the deal. and you just hear this obviously piped in beep 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 beep, like she's programming a microwave to cook a Thanksgiving turkey. Beep 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 beep, and then she goes hee 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 and walks away, and then time passes, and Mandy Rose gets out of the thing, and she's all burnt. And and then she sees Gigi and JJ come there to pick her up, and they're like, "Oh my God, you look like a strawberry." And it's like, "Oh no, well, let's just go hang out inside instead of going to the beach. We'll go hang out inside for like 2 or 3 days." And Gigi and JJ are like, "No, we actually do want to go to the beach. We're going to leave you here by yourself and leave," because they're great friends. They're very good friends of hers. Yeah, so that was the first crime committed by Wendy Choo, which is, I think, assault.
I think, aren't tanning beds timed? Like, was that the thing? She was messing with the timer?
Apparently, I thought she was saying that she turned it up. I don't know that you could turn up a tanning bed, but that's what I thought she was doing. But then Mandy says, "I only set it for 10 minutes," which means that she fell asleep. Like, I don't know how long she or she doesn't understand like how time passes.
The regulars at the tanning salon that called her champ on the way in weren't like, "Hey, maybe we should go see if
Mandy's been in there for 4 hours." That's weird. And also she said on the phone to Gigi and JJ, "Hey, I should only be about 15 minutes." So the most she could have possibly overslept by was 5 minutes. So there are holes in this plot. Somebody needs to talk to the writers about this, because I don't think something's not adding up here, Kate.
No, there's a lot of things that don't add up, Alex.
Peyton sent us a Humper Chat. Get in your Humper Chats at humperchats.com. Says, "Once again, I refuse to watch the show. I did see the Mandy tanning bed segment, though. I don't understand why they book some women's feuds so well. Then you have some about pranks and a sunburn. I miss Black and Gold so much, but by now everyone does." What women's feuds are you remembering that were booked so well in NXT? Because it's been a while since there was a so well booked women's feud. Ricardo the Bot Guy says, "I get my tan in Arizona's 110-degree sun."
There you go.
There you go.
I mean, she's constantly by the pool. Doesn't she already have the base tan? Like, we see her every week. She's very tan. She's like ethnically ambiguously tan.
Mr. Wax says, "What does Linda think of Mandy's tanning fiasco?" "Oh, give me a break, honey. You're always at the pool. If you don't have a base by now, I don't know what you're doing. Because listen to me. I used to go all the tanning all the time. I needed to keep myself nice.
That's where you met husband number 7.
A nice bronze. A nice shade of bronze. A nice set of burnt sienna. That's what I had to look like, because that's what all the ladies had back in my day. That's when we did the stencils. They had the Playboy bunny, of course, and a little heart. I had a full on, just a big picture of a dragon. It was a giant stencil. It went all the way from my knee all the way up my neck. It took me an hour to put the stencil on, and then 10 minutes in the tanning bed like that. So don't even get me this, Miss Mandy Rose. JW Pringle says, "I was fully expecting Mandy to come out in the tasteless blackface and not lobster red. At least it was just bad and not racist bad." Yeah, I
that's where the bar is.
That's where the bar is.
Not blackface is the bar. That's not good.
Yes. Yeah. So that was the beginning. That was the first Wendy Choo does a prank segment of the night. We'll talk about the next one. Let's talk about it now. Why not? Gigi and JJ go to the beach and they frolic in the surf. But they left all their stuff by the towel like you normally do. Wendy Choo is there again, and she's got binoculars. Also with her is Roxanne Perez, also known as Roxy. Roxy says, "Are you sure this is what we should be doing? I should be training for the breakout tournament," which is a good point, because it's at least an hour drive from Orlando to the beach. So like that's just 2 hours out of your day just driving there and back, regardless of any shenanigans you get up to at the beach.
What I appreciate, Wendy Choo was like, it doesn't matter if you win things here. It's more important that you
This is training.
Yeah.
For NXT 2.0, it's very important that you train how to do this shit. Because this is what's going to get you over with the boss man. And so they go down to where they're keeping all their stuff by their blanket, and they steal their shoes and their car keys. And I was like, oh, so they're going to drive away with their car and make them walk all the way back to Orlando.
Barefoot.
Barefoot. And it turns out they just moved the car about a quarter of the way down the block and left it there and then dropped the keys at the end of the little walkway, but then also like, hey ladies, looking for these, with their shoes, and then dropped them by the car, then scampered away because they're little scamps. And what do scamps do? They scamper. This was honestly, Wendy Choo is a very winning personality. She does so many things so well. Not even she can save this bit. Like, she is the only woman who's allowed to dress in any way that covers herself up. And they've got her in a full shark costume.
And like, even the prank doesn't make sense, Alex.
Yeah. Not
only is it dumb to be doing pranks, the prank doesn't make sense.
Yes, true. Peyton Carter.
Roxy came in. She's had 3 matches. She's won over so many people so quickly. And they were like, you know what you're going to do? You're going to take someone's shoes. You're going to drop them like 6 feet from where they were, along with car keys for a car that you're kind of stealing, but not.
Here's the other thing, though. This is the thing that I hate about this. Wendy Choo and Roxy have a tag match versus Gigi and JJ next week versus Toxic Attraction. I don't know how they're going to book that match. Frankly, I don't care. Here's what I do care about. If Roxy is feuding with Toxic Attraction while she's starting the breakout tournament, then what they're going to do is have Toxic Attraction cost her a match, and therefore she's not going to win the tournament, which, as we all know, she's the only person who should win that freaking tournament. Like, it's hand delivered. She wins the tournament. She gets a title match. She beats Mandy Rose. That's how you book that. It's obvious. It must be done. And they're just not going to do it because they're going to rather have heat. Kate?
Well, even better than that tournament is going to be for a title shot. And she's going to get a title shot anyway. So.
Yep. Yeah. Peyton Carter says the last good NXT women's feud I remember was so long ago. I think dinosaurs were still around. I was mostly talking about feuds like Becky and Bianca on the main roster. Yeah. Yeah.
And now Becky and Asuka. That'll be great. Like, that'll be really strong.
Yes. Yeah. Based entirely on the personalities involved and not the creative. There was like, we briefly touched on it, but like Roddy just being a dick to everybody in Diamond Mine now. That was a segment they did backstage, which played into something that happened later. Anything else to add about that?
Yeah, why are you as stable when your manager's gone? If a guy's being a dick to you, why not just go fight in a tag team match? Your manager's gone. This guy's being an asshole. You have little Ivy. Like, it's done. The stable's done. You're not breaking anything up anymore. It's broken up. You released the manager of that stable.
Yeah.
You ever-loving morons.
Yes.
This makes no sense from the jump.
No, it doesn't. So we got a couple of more who's in the breakout tournament for next week. Tesha Price, of course, is now Fallon Henley.
So it's my favorite thing in the world.
She likes horses. Fallon Henley loves horses. She's that girl you went to school with who loves horses.
Shut the fuck about horses.
That's her gimmick.
Alex, it's
her gimmick
so much better than
her gimmick is I'm a horse girl. That's what her gimmick is. She's
just an average gal next door as well.
Yeah.
But the best part is nobody thought to edit out this line because when I heard it, it was immediately ridiculous. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna win that contract and show it to my horse.
I miss Luna. Like
what?
This is the thing, is that they have her. I'm assuming she's riding her own horse. Like she says, like her family had to sell the ranch, but I made them keep the horse. I think is what she said.
We moved into this 2-bedroom apartment.
And I'm like, where are you keeping a horse in Orlando?
At a stable, like you could.
Right. But the thing is, right. So, but anyway, she says they have her film of her riding this horse, which I assume is her horse. And then she says, I really miss Luna. The next time I see her, I'm going to show her a contract for a match for the women's championship. And I was like,
horse is gonna be like,
isn't the horse right over there? The next time I see her, they just filmed you riding her for 15 minutes. The next time I see her, did you hire a camera crew when you flew back home to see your parents and they did a bunch of stock footage of you riding a horse just in case that might come in handy later?
Also, what in the Miss America Late in Hell is this?
I don't know.
Why does everybody have to have a weird hobby? Why can't we just want to be wrestlers?
This horse girl is much better than sexy lady boss.
I don't know if it is. At least I had a reaction to that.
Horse girl to me is like sexy lady boss is the worst because that's an absolute genre on Pornhub. Like this at least is just a stock character from a movie from 1994. Tatum Paxley is a power.
I'm gonna show my horse my contract.
And then the horse is going to say, well done.
Are we kidding?
Fallon.
Secretariat.
Yeah. So
it's going to be there.
Tatum Paxley.
Now I want the horse to be a character. Now I want the horse to review the contract. They're like horse and horse partner, legal firm. Have you been injured in a wrestling ring?
Mm-hmm.
We review legal contracts and do tort law. I am more interested in the horse.
Tatum Paxley is a power lifter. That's what she says. And she says, I use visualization to help me. I was like, oh no, is this like a girl who's like really into the secret? Like, is that
I was like, oh no.
Okay.
She's gonna meditate in the ring. It's gonna be over for all of us.
There's a book I think you should read. That's what as soon as she said I use visualization, I was like, oh no, there's a book you think I should read, isn't there? Anyway, okay. So she's a power lifter.
Better. Makes sense. Strong person, wrestling. Got it.
J.W. Pringle says, weird hobby is the new occupational gimmick. Duke the Dumpster Drozy wouldn't have been a trash collector. He would have been a guy who's really into like restoring old cars.
I love garbage.
I do.
Which is why I'm here in NXT. No. That would make sense.
Duke the Dumpster Drozy wouldn't be a garbage man. He'd be an artisanal dumpster diver. Like he'd go in, he'd find like old treasures and he'd restore like an old lamp or something. He'd have a whole TikTok about it.
Just be a wrestler.
Valab says, who doesn't like horses? What's your favorite racehorse name? Mine is Mare Quimby, which is a fantastic racehorse name. There are a lot of good old fake ones that I can't recall right now from funny, but yeah.
I went to the racetrack as a gambling girl once. No, the Meadowlands racetrack it's a fun place to spend an afternoon, and they have really good burgers. And there was one that was just clearly a wrestling fan that put all of their favorite wrestlers in their name because it was like Edge Mysterio Austin. Like it was just like all these wrestlers in one, and they were unrelated and from different. It was like Macho Man, Edge, Mysterio. I was like, what?
Jake Salazar has sent in some rudimentary lyrics to a parody song. There we go. I'm a horse girl. Bow bow. Yeah, I'm a horse girl. Bow bow. I like to pet him. I like to ride him. And that's all he's got. But like, I think there's more to it than that.
I like to train him. I like to stop him. Whoa! I'm a horse girl. I know more of that song than I care to admit.
Yeah.
Many horses, so little time.
Mark Losper says, this horse convo is the first thing I've heard after joining. What the hell happened on NXT? And then, like 5 minutes later, he sent in, this is the most confusing conversation I've ever heard the two of you have. Think of the ground that covers. Yeah, no, it is. Yes, it's true.
Here's the thing. Fallon Henley loves horses.
Yes.
And she wants to win the tournament, not for a title,
no,
but to show her horse.
No. I think like Cameron Grimes needed to become North American champion for his dead father. Fallon Henley needs a contract for a future championship match, not to become the champion, just to have a match for the championship. Not for her dead father, but for her live horse. That's the thing that is motivating her.
I will never let you become glue. That's what we're gonna get.
Yeah.
I wish her and her horse had Lacey Evans arc, where it's like her and her horse just go through all these tragic events.
Jake Salazar says, "You're welcome, listeners."
Salazar now when we called him up.
Yeah, might be. He says, "You're welcome, listeners, for giving us the ass man horse girl thing." JW Pringle says, "Gambling girl is Kate's weird hobby gimmick."
It sure is.
Well, hold on here. I think it says there's Rabbi Joe 316.
Welcome,
for
Rabbi.
For my 32nd birthday, I asked Team Kalex, the Council of Marks, and the entire SGS to make the Eclipse our official SGS finisher. The move, the wrestler, and the human being behind it are all top tier. Yes, Ember Moon, top tier, tippy top tier. Yeah. So we got another one here going along that Matthew Plus Sucks has denied that he is just a burner account for the real Matthew Plus.
Ooh.
He says, no, I'm definitely not Matthew Plus. He's not smart enough. He's not a smart enough streaming service to do that. And then he also humper chatted in hashtag boycott Matthew Plus. So we got a Nathan Frazier interview, where he's like, ever since I was 10 years old, it's been my dream. It's been my dream to be here, right here in NXT. And I need to look it up, but how old is Nathan Frazier? Because ever since I was 10 years old, it's my dream to be in WWE. Fine, but you kind of have been for a while. So is it NXT specifically? That's a weird thing. But he's just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. It's got to be so great when I go out there. Oh look, there's my opponent's music. I better go. And I've never heard that before. I've seen many times where somebody hears their own music and they got to go. But he heard Grayson Waller's music and he's got to, like, that was very odd.
It was, but maybe he was like, I got to get in position for my own music.
He's 23 years old. So 13 years ago would have been 2009 when he was 10. The NXT did not exist then. So correct. It was just a WWE, or he's lying, or it was bad writing. One of those things, not sure.
Could be all three.
Yeah. So we got Frazier versus Waller. There we go. That was it's a match that happened. Frazier won.
His finisher is very cool.
His finisher is very cool. He does a Phoenix splash.
Stay in the ring.
Yes.
Do it.
Yep. He won with the help of Andre Chase and an air horn. Because Grayson Waller was on the top rope. I think he was going to do his jumping elbow drop to the outside to a prone Nathan Frazier, but Andre Chase, he used an air horn to scare Grayson Waller, so he fell off the top rope, and then the Phoenix splash. What a waste this whole Grayson Waller thing has been. Like, he's not nearly important enough for putting over Nathan Frazier to mean anything. But I thought, like, even though I didn't like him, and I never have, I thought, well, hey, you know what? They've decided to ride this guy into the sunset. Like, they decided he's the dude who's going to jump Johnny Gargano out of NXT, who's like one of the top 4 figures in NXT history.
History, for sure.
And they decided this is the guy we're going to give that rub to. Well, they must have big plans for him. Nope. No, not really.
Well, Von Wagner was in a Fatal 4-Way, right? And now he's...
I mean, yeah, he was in a Fatal 4-Way, and it was obvious at the time. No, that wasn't. But they had already seen what they were going to do with Grayson Waller. They already knew what they had with him, and they said, "Okay."
And they followed up with AJ Styles, and yeah,
we think but no. So Jake Salazar, telling me he's 23 years old. I knew he was young, but I didn't think he was young enough to actually care about NXT. I believe when he was 10 years old, it was the game show where like Titus O'Neil was running around the ring carrying a keg. So if he wanted more than anything to be on that show, it explains it because he was a child at the time. I
also just feel like it's nobody's dream to be in a developmental. Like, no one's like, oh, it was always my dream to be in AA. Yeah. Like, nobody says that. Yeah. Grayson Waller is a confusing one because he's not over enough to be putting other people over. The Sangha split, I guess, is completely lost. That's kind of weird. I thought they were riding him into the sunset too. But you know what, Alex? Sometimes people need a little help if they want to go riding into the sunset. You know what I mean?
They do.
WWE might need to take something to ride it into the sunset. And I think Sean Ross Sapp is here to tell you all about something that can help you ride into your sunsets.
Is your penis soft? Is it difficult to get hard? Do you have issues with sexual performance? Do you have issues with sexual confidence? BlueChew.com, code FIGHTFUL, gives you your first shipment of Blue Chew for free. It will help you get a harder, stronger erection. It will make you more confident in your sexual performance. You take an online questionnaire. You work with an online physician. You don't wait in line at the pharmacy. You don't wait in line at the doctor's office. It's prepared and shipped direct in a discreet package. That way, nobody knows that you are getting Blue Chew in order to make your penis erect. Blue Chew and the code FIGHTFUL gets you your first shipment free if you want an erect penis. I'm going to end the ad now.
Again, can't emphasize enough. There's 2 videos of that ad read I will forever pick. The one where Sean stares into your soul and asks you if your penis is soft. Every time. Every single time.
Every single damn time.
Sangha with a G.
Sanka? Grayson Waller used to drink Sanka? Why is he feeding with Sanka now? No, they're different Sanka. Not the same one. The Great Clay says, apparently I haven't been paying enough attention since I don't regularly watch this product. When and why did Mark from late 90s MTV Road Rules get dragged into this nonsense? Because he was ringside for this Grayson Waller thing, and he was like best friends with Grayson Waller, and I thought he was going to cost Nathan Frazier the match at one point, because he was like, Nathan Frazier was like celebrating. Nathan Frazier was celebrating his very, very good suicide dive, which I will now forever call a Nathan Laser.
Ooh, I very much like that.
And I thought that Mark was gonna like club him upside the head or something while the ref wasn't looking.
Maybe the Miz will come down to feud, and you'll have a real world Road Rules challenge.
There you go. Yeah. So Nathan Frazier won with a Phoenix Splash. It was a very impressive Phoenix Splash. I don't think it good for him. I think he's got I think Ben Carter has all kinds of potential. Mm-hmm. Still very, very young. I will always say he backed the wrong horse, to use other parlances of this thing. I think that there was a way to hold out until something better came along, because we'll see where he goes on stateside, but we'll see.
Well, I was going to say, I think part of it was he was able to go home and work when he initially signed to NXT UK, and Black and Gold looked a little different than this.
Yes, it certainly did.
Steaming pile of dog crap.
Mark Losper says, I don't think Vince and Bruce need help with sunsets. Oh, wait, I mean sundowning. Yes, no, they're doing fine with that. Ramon Rogers, you says, I used to ride horses for a living in medieval times.
Stop the whole show. I need to know everything. Does every single medieval times have the bird that circles for like 45 minutes before you start the show? What color knight were you? Did you rotate? I have so many questions. How did you choose who was going over?
Yeah. When I was 13 and we went to medieval times for the first time, that was my life. That was going to be my life. I said this to my mother. This is what I'm going to be. I'm going to be a knight in medieval times. I was 13, and I gave up that dream by the time, I was 14, I think. But in that moment, there was nothing cooler than being a knight for a bunch of tourists in Orlando, stuffing their faces with turkey legs.
No joke. Oh yeah, if you haven't been to medieval times, A, what's the matter with you? And B, like, you have to eat without using silverware. It's the greatest thing in the world. Anyway, so
that's not why it's the greatest thing in the world.
No, all of it's the greatest thing in the world. So I have a friend who's actually a wrestling fan, the only wrestling fan I've ever had at a working environment. And we had like a group thing. The office was in Brooklyn, okay? Medieval Times is in New Jersey. We had like a whole office retreat, and when everybody came in from all across the country and wanted to do like New York things, she was like, we're going to medieval times for an office group event. And we did, and it was fantastic. And our night lost immediately. But my favorite part was you walk in and it's like this fake castle or whatever, and they put the Wi-Fi out for you. I was like, kayfabe is dead here at medieval times.
See, when I went to medieval times, there was no such thing as the internet, because that's how old I was, how old I am now.
This was only like 5 years ago. We were way too old for this. This wasn't like my first job.
No, like my wife's horrible former friend made everybody come to medieval times for like her birthday like 3 or 4 years ago.
She sounds awesome, to be honest.
No,
that's the one thing I know.
Like yes, basically the one thing you know. No, but it was like, okay, we had assigned seating based on her at the medieval times. Yes, like she's super type A, like crazy, like Anyway, former friend, my wife's former friend. But anyway, so that was the most recent time I've gone. It was fun, except for the fact that my waitress filled my goblet of Coke while I wasn't looking, and so I thought that it wasn't anything left in it, and I tipped it all the way back and got Coke all down myself.
No. Was it one of Linda's husband's medieval time night?
No, actually he wasn't.
Linda, who traipsed the Oregon Trail.
Yeah, she's not that old. I mean, oh, you
that
mean
is canon?
Yeah.
I can't believe you no-sold me on Linda being married to a medieval times knight.
I just wanted one time. I wanted to like break all the rules with improv. Okay, yes, his name was Sir Dennis. He made me refer to him as Sir Dennis, like he would wear his suit of armor to the dinner table. He'd say, "Serve me now, wench." We never got married. We were engaged, and he got all into the whole. He wanted to joust with me in the bedroom. I was like, "No, put that thing down. No, we're not doing this. It's no. Excuse me, no." And so, yeah, it did not work out for me and Sir Dennis.
And if you want to joust in the bedroom, go to bluechew.com and use the code Fightful at checkout.
There you go. So. JW Pringle says, I have a friend who was the falconer at medieval time. I can try and put you in touch with her, Kate.
I have so many questions.
Great.
I need to know about the color night that you wore. Do they rotate colors? How do you decide who goes over? Was there ever a War Games one where there was a medieval times in one group? And then I have so many questions.
Right. The Mark Losper says, petition for this former friend to be the first topic on your new show. No.
Wow.
Sorry.
Alex, aka Shutdown City tonight.
Yeah, no, because that's no. We have another horrible thing to talk about on our new show.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. Mark Mosper says, reaching back into one of Kate's first gimmicks, is medieval times fancy?
Oh my God, medieval times not fancy. There's not even silverware. Okay. Applebee's, not fancy. The song trolls me every time it's on. Cheesecake Factory, Applebee's in a corset, not fancy. If it's a chain restaurant, it's probably not fancy. And I'm not saying every date needs to be fancy. I'm a simple gal, okay? But don't tell me you're taking me on a fancy date and then take me to somewhere where there's a 2 for $25 special.
Yeah. Applebee's
commercial.
Fancy like. So
this is a wrestling review show, I'm told.
We got our Tony D and Santos sit down, which was the best match on the show. Was the first match of the night. The best thing on the show was this. This was so great. I felt like I was watching an episode of The Sopranos. Like, this was friggin' awesome. I really, really love this. I loved so much of this interaction because Santos, God, he's so great. This company has no frigging idea what they have in this guy. This guy is a top of the whole frigging card guy. And they have no idea what they've got with him.
No.
He is smooth as hell. They have been wanting like the Latino superstar for years. They brought back Alberto Del Rio because they were like, maybe it'll work another time. And like Ray's not it because they don't want him to wear a mask or whatever. They want this guy who speaks well, like he's obviously Latino, but speaks well enough English that they don't have to worry about, can he carry a promo? He's a great promo. He's got so much. He can go in the ring. He's so friggin' fantastic.
He's not
this segment showed so much going for him. And this Tony D got to shine in this thing. Like he was just the way their little back and forth was there was so much subtext between these guys. Like it was like watching like not the production values weren't great, but it was like watching a scene in a B movie. Like it was like that was the kind of thing as opposed to like the normal crap we usually have to watch in these backstage segments. I thought it was great.
I thought it was real fun. I was like, I don't know what this is, but I love it. I like where the storyline is going. I feel like it's going there too fast. I wish
Yes.
this was going to be a slower burn.
Yes.
But if that's my complaint about it, that's better than like 97% of what we saw tonight. So I will take it.
Ricardo the Bot Guy says, Santos greater than signed current Andrade, fight me. I won't fight you. What I will want to say is I want them to fight each other in a best of 3 where the last one is a 15-minute Iron Man match. That's what I want. Like, if I'm in charge of booking all wrestling all over the world, that's happening in the first pay-per-view. That's a thing that's happening. Santos Escobar versus Andrade is a thing that's happening. That's what I want.
Alex books the world should be a show.
So I love this. I love this segment a lot. There was a lot of back and forth of like who's actually in charge. But there was a point where both of them were willing to cede some ground. It was like, let's split. Basically, like it's like 2 crime families carving up a town. Like who gets to run the numbers, who gets to run the like these corners, whatever. I thought it was great. But of course, each guy, if you said, how are we going to split it? Well, obviously 80-20 me. Like that's basically what they were trying. Like we're not going to split it 50-50. That's not allowed. But I thought it was all very, very good. And then they agreed to like part ways and just keep the peace at some point. And there was a one where like, this is why I thought they were going a certain direction. They didn't go. Was Escobar had a wine glass in front of him and pushed it over to Tony and then drank water out of his own cup. And Tony drank the wine. And I was like, did Santos just poison Tony D? Because that's really slick to like give him some wine, but you drink the water because the wine's been poisoned. And then after Tony D, but AJ Galante is there because he's his consigliere, which is just hilarious to me. But anyway, he's like, they leave, and Santos says, hey, go get the car. Which is okay. So you poisoned him and you got to get out before anybody finds out that you poisoned him. No, just go get the car so later in the night they can abduct AJ Galante. That was why they got the car. Which I guess is a callback to the original coming out of Santos as a heel, was that he kidnapped people with a big car. So like I like the through line there. But one more thing is that Joaquin Wilde was very angry that they showed up late, that Tony D showed up late, and Tony D says, "Hey, calm down, Jacqueline." And I was like, he called Joaquin Jacqueline, which that was wonderful.
That was fantastic. I loved this. I loved everything about this. I just wish it was a slower burn, but I think there's still a lot to play with of just stepping into each other's territory. I think could be a really fun couple of months, but forgive me for not having faith in them to pull this off right.
No, I don't either. Ricardo the Bot Guy says Mexican Chewy says King Cuerno versus La Sombra. Yes, please. Yeah, there was a hot minute there in the mid 20 teens where those two guys were on the absolute top of their game, and WWE kind of took some time away from both of them. The Hound says the Santos and Tony D segment was pretty incredible, but felt like a lackluster show and main event finish. Also, this country is depressing. Yeah, well, don't get either of us started on that.
Who, buddy? Tired of men being in control of bad wrestling in my uterus. I'll tell you that.
There you go.
I'll leave it at that.
Nerd Guru says if NXT 2.0 was just a 2-hour show about Tony D and Santos and their family dealings, I would look forward to it every week.
But the problem is then we want to watch a movie and not wrestling, which is fine. But like, just go watch a monster movie. Yeah.
Shauna Walensky says, sending some love to my favorite pair. Love the Ghostbusters shirt. Tony D and Escobar's sit down and Kate's bangs.
Thank you.
Did you see the brilliant BCC video that AEW posted? Regal's a national treasure. We have other super chats about that. I managed to watch about a minute and a half of it before I got pulled away. But yes, Mark Losper saying, "Where's Phoenix in the Latino pantheon for y'all?" Oh, I love Phoenix. I love Ray Phoenix. I mean, I view the masked wrestlers as kind of a different category. Like as far as I guess it's because Andrade and Santos are just so friggin' cool, and it just
it's a different feel. Rey Mysterio is a
totally different kind of thing.
Eddie Guerrero, it's a very different kind of thing. But Phoenix is incredible. I'm happy he's back. I'm hoping he is as healthy as he was, and I think him and Penta offset each other in the most perfect way that a tag team could. Like, there's so much fun over there.
Mark Quill says NXT should have a dirty cop gimmick who gets paid off by Tony D or Santos to keep things crime infested and deliberately ignore all of the kidnappings.
That would be great if they would give that to like Lash Legend or someone. Yeah. That's the problem.
Luis says Phoenix is cool, but Penta is slightly above him when it comes to influence in modern wrestling. I love Phoenix, but there was nothing in the world of wrestling as badass as when Pentagon was literally taking motherfuckers' arms in Lucha Underground. God, that was the coolest thing ever. They made it into a thing where like they would write off like lower mid-card people by having them lose to Penta, and then he'd break their arm and they'd be off TV for like 7, 8, 9 episodes. Like they just were gone because he in their kayfabe broke their arms. It was a really cool thing. Ricardo the Bot Guy says Phoenix is the best luchador on earth. He certainly got the talent for it. I mean, some of the stuff that he does, I've never seen anybody else do. That's for sure. Speaking of people who do stuff that I've never seen anybody else do, Lash Legend teaming with Natalya versus Jade and Nikkita Lyons.
I knew it wasn't going in a good direction, but I didn't know. In a very
different way. I've never seen anybody else do some of the stuff.
Oh, buddy. This was rough.
This was rough. Number one rough thing is Jade. Stop making the poor girl skateboard. It's like if you
like she can't skateboard.
Like please don't make her skateboard. Like if
this would be like if Ellen Henley was always falling off a horse.
It's almost as though she has PTSD from a skateboarding accident. Like that's how bad she rides a skateboard. Like if she's absolutely petrified of riding skateboards, that's how she rides skateboards. I feel bad for her.
Just don't have her. Like she could just be a little pop punky nerd without being a skateboarder.
Yeah.
Not everybody has to have a hobby, you guys.
No, it's true.
It doesn't have to be a hobby that leads you to the ring in every context.
Mark Losper says, are you saying that Lash Legend is a trailblazer, Alex? Well, yes. I suppose.
Trail jobber.
She's blazing a trail in a certain direction. WB Mark says whoever said this women's division is good lied. Ramon Rogers says, hey, so watching Lash Legend is giving me heartburn. Such a shame. A year ago NXT was good. Now I'm just sad. Yep. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it.
She's real bad. Like Lash Legend is not good in the ring yet.
No.
She needs to go back to up real hard.
There was one egregious use of a pun by Vic Joseph where now Lyons got the hot tag and now she's gonna roar. And
they do this every week now that she's on.
Done. I must have missed that one.
Oh, I think you don't. Do you? Because her last name's Lyons.
No,
I didn't get it.
I get it, but I don't.
It was so meta. I didn't know if you were able to.
Guess. It's very subtle. There are like a lot of very subtle layers to it. There's layers to it.
Because like it's spelled with a Y, but he is referring to the animal, which is spelled with an I.
Yeah. No,
so,
I see it now.
Yeah.
So anyway, this match ends when Natty, for some reason, kicks Lash Legend in the face when she was trying to break up a pin of Nikkita Lyons pinning Lash Legend, but ends up Lash Legend reverses the pin, but Natty got in there too late, so she kicks Lash instead of Nikkita Lyons. And then she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Lash Legend. I ruined your match that you're in for no reason." And then she runs at Nikkita, who then kind of like just dodges her, and Natty, veteran of the most matches, falls out of the ring and doesn't get up for another 2 or 3 minutes. And it's just like the word whenever like that's how you write somebody out of a tag match, I'm always like, they went through the middle rope. That's it. Like nothing really happened. So Nikkita, like Lash is laying there, and Nikkita does her jumping split-legged pin thing, and then grabs the leg as though she's gonna pin her, but realizes that's not actually the finish they talked about, and has to get off of Lash Legend awkwardly so that Cora Jade can completely miss her senton off the top rope. Like she landed full on her own tailbone, didn't even touch Lash Legend, but still got the pin.
Yeah, that ending was woof. That was really, really bad. This whole thing all around was not very good. Nikkita Lyons looked really good in some spots, but virtually every move that Lash Legend made looked bad. Like, it either wasn't laid in or it was botched. Like, she's just not ready for TV. I have no interest in seeing her versus Natty. If that's where that's going to go, that's going to be a disaster. Alex, that ending, I'm going to say, I wish it was Natty who was laying there, because I would say that they missed the boat on that one.
Nice. Mark Will
you can't outdo me, Vic Joseph, with your Lions puns. I got boat puns for days.
Mark Will says, Natty, the boat was off course for that shipwreck. Tom Lavalley says boats to NXT, boat captain to the main roster. And EJM says, heard you guys suggest Natty could be the LOAT, longest of all time. We also decided that she was the MOAT. She was the most of all time. Sadly, when it comes to wrestling, the LOAT title is Lanny Poffo's. Rumor is the other wrestlers wrote a poem about him back in the day. Something about him being from Nantucket, I think. And Orion Ben says, Game 1 of the Rangers versus Pens took all of my attention tonight. However, I turned during intermissions and I got discount Roxy back with a skateboard and a dumb hick jerking joke. Praying for y'all, Team Kalex. I want to talk about that in a second. First of all, let me address this from Mark Losper. The boat doesn't make mistakes. She cruised in to save us from the disaster of Lash Legend. We should be thanking her, really. Well, I mean, like, Lash Legend, if Lash Legend didn't have Natalya to team up with, I don't think that match would have gotten on TV, but whatever. The Beej is actually the Squeege, Kate. We see Double Vest in the Beej backstage, and the Beej, remember his hand.
Not the Squeege.
He got hurt. He got his hand hurt by Von Wagner last week. Oh, that Von Wagner! I'm gonna get him good. How long am I be out for, Doc? Well, actually, with this kind of injury, I don't know why they're asking him a week later. Like, is it because it is a week later, so it should be like one less week recovery time. Anyway, normally with an injury this kind, we see normally a 10 to 12 week recovery period. Oh man, that's too long. But actually, because the muscles in this hand are so strong, it's actually going to be a shorter recovery time. Is there a specific reason why the muscles in your right hand are so much stronger than the muscles in your left hand? And then the Beej looks over at Double Vest, who's like, "Yo, boy, I don't know what to say about that one." And then the Doc helpfully says, "Is it because you're just right-handed?" "Oh yeah, that's it, Doc. I'm right-handed, that's why." And he's like, "Oh, okay. So 85% of the population is right-handed. So anyway, it's going to take 6 to 8 weeks, and then they react as though they won the Super Bowl. Like, oh yeah, hooray! 6 to 8 weeks is so much better than 8 to 12. Well, it's barely. I mean, like it's barely better. It's something like I said, oh my gosh, because you've been jerking it so much, you'll be back wrestling in a week. That's the joke. It normally would take 10 to 12 weeks to recover, but because you've been jerking it so much,
because he was having jacket time,
because you were having your own personal jacket time, you'll be back in a week. That's the joke. Like, because you masturbate so much, your recovery time has been lessened by 2 weeks. From 8 to 6 is not great. It's not a great.
The only great thing about this is your impression of him is like a very special combination of Jeff Foxworthy and Chris Farley in a little coat, like you do the.
Yep. If you'll notice, my the Beej is very close to the Double Vest. They're very similar.
They are
they're subtle layers.
I mean, considering that we don't really know what to call them. Yeah, no, this was terrible. This is sophomoric and stupid, and probably right out of the brain of Vince McMahon and his 76 yet also 13-year-old sense of humor.
Yeah. So I had a thought though. Okay.
You did?
I did. What if he should have said, "Oh, actually, no, it's not from all the masturbation I do. It's because I like to keep myself nice and groomed down there."
Okay, you took my segue, but go ahead.
Surely you didn't think that just because I'm not physically on this show that we would shave off our ad reads, right? Oh no. Oh no. Because we're busy shaving something else off, my friends. Make sure you have those manicured nuts with Manscaped. Get 20% off plus free shipping if you use the code FIGHTFUL at manscaped.com. Oh, man. You don't want to look like you've gone through a main event match with your nutsack when you're trying to care for them. And Manscaped makes sure that you don't with that Perfect Package 4.0. The hygiene bundle includes the Lawnmower 4.0, Weed Whacker, Boxer's Travel Kit, and liquid formulations. That Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof with advanced skin-safe technology to reduce nicks and cuts, and even has a light to help you with your close shave. The Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer makes sure you whack those nasty weeds in your delicate holes. And it also has proprietary skin-safe technology. But even beyond that, you get the Boxers. You get the travel bag. They've got a foot duster. They've got a crop reviver. It's a ball toner, of all things. Plus the crop preserver to prevent chafing. Manscaped.com. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code FIGHTFUL. Manscaped.com.
So what was yours going to be, Kate?
I was going to say, it's actually funny because I didn't put two and two together, but it's like the top of Sean's read. I was going to say they could have shaved some time off the show with this segment.
Okay. It's good.
There you go.
Good. Yeah, it's good. The Nerd Guru says, if you want to last 6 to 8 weeks, Blue Chew.
Go Fightful. Check it.
Yeah. So, yeah. Mark Quill says, SRS is weirdly obsessed with my nuts, but his ad reads are a little less horny than the black hole horniness that is NXT 2.0.
Black hole horniness. Sean told us who the ads were for tonight, and I was like, we get all the dick segue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yes.
I remember early on, before he knew me, he was like, if it makes you uncomfortable, we can always switch out sponsors. And I was like, no, my friend. This is where I shine.
Yeah. So, the Viking Raiders got interviewed, but then erupted by Yes Boy. And Yes Boy says, "We're happy. We can't wait to see you kick the Creed Brothers' ass."
And they were like, maybe we'll come for you after this match with the Creeds, which meant now doesn't actually fucking mean anything.
Maybe after we get through with the Creeds, then we're gonna put your side plates in a check. I don't know.
Raid.
I love War Machine. I hate the Viking Raiders. I hate what they've done to them. It doesn't. God, I was so into those guys when they were in NXT as the War Raiders. Even more into them when they were War Machine. The Viking Raiders, not so much. But talk about the match, Kate. The match was. I love the Creeds. I think they got a lot of potential going forward, but they're probably just going to be like, I don't know, Alpha Academy recruits when they get called up. If Chad Gable's there long enough.
God, yeah.
I mean, if Chad Gable, the Academy can't only have one student. If Chad Gable is the leader of the Academy, you have to have other students.
In order to be a university, all you need is an air horn. I think we learned that tonight. Yep. I don't know. I really must have been making faces at ringside a lot during this match. But the match was really good. I thought the physicality was where we wanted it to be. This was just big, meaty men slapping meat, if that's your thing.
Yep.
Very, very fun. The Creeds are great. They're extremely agile for their size. It's just very hard to buy into a story where now the manager's gone. There's no impetus for them to stay with Roddy. They're not near the tag titles, even though they won the Dusty Cup, and still haven't gotten a one-on-one for the tag titles. And the current tag holders attacked them in a parking lot. So, what was in front of me was great. Very physical. Just a bunch of strong dudes throwing each other around and into each other. Like, really, really fun. Some incredible suplexes in this match. Is it a butterfly suplex or an underhook suplex? That gets ridiculous. Like, fantastically strong. It's just hard to buy into this because they removed all the stakes that were about this. And the finish, I'm pretty conflicted on because I get it for the story. It's not actually bad to have Roddy interfere to help them win, but it makes the Creeds look weak, in my opinion. So I like it because it's something that Malcolm Bivens wouldn't and couldn't really do in his role that Roddy can do. So it is like, look at this way that I added value for you. I can actually get in the ring and do something. But at the same time, you're kind of cutting the legs out from under the Creeds with that because it looks like they can't win on their own, which is kind of the point. But for such a young team, that doesn't feel like the direction that they should be going in because they should be on a continued rise, in my opinion. So it at least makes wrestling sense. It's just taste-wise not necessarily what I would have liked to have seen.
Right. JW Pringle says, Viking Wilford Brimley is my new fave. Listen, you don't like our horned helmets, and I'm going to hit you so hard you're going to get the diabetes. So, and Mark Losper says, oh, Alex, you know they're going to do Alpha Academy versus Chase U on the Ultimate Meaningless Degree contest. Yep.
The only one of those gimmicks I really liked was Damian Sandow. I thought he was so good at that, like, elitist fun thing. He was wonderful.
I agree. I'm like that guy turned being the stuntman for the Miz into endless hilarity. I don't understand. They said no, we don't like you anymore. It's like we don't like you anymore. So the way this match ended was that Eric finds himself in the ropes, and Roddy runs up and does a jumping knee, and then Julius hits the unnecessary clothesline to win the match. And then at the end of the match, Roddy's like, "A win's a win," and the Crews are like, "Not like this, not like this. We want to win the honorable way." And that's what they did. That was the end of the match.
That was your double vest of the beach minus the southern accent.
You found my secret. All of my impressions are the same. Hey, what's that over there? Says the irony of Strong being the leader of Diamond Mine now, even though he's been trying to get the hell out of there. Like, I'm the leader until next week when they actually grant me my release. Then you'll never see me again.
Want to be out of here. I had tweeted, and some people found it funny. It should be him and Mustafa Ali in a winner goes home match and loser goes home match. Like, it's an I quit match where they both actually get to quit the job of being at the company they don't want to be at.
Winner, it's a winner leaves town match. That's what it is.
Yeah, a winner leaves town
winner
match.
Leaves town match. Not a loser leaves town match, a winner leaves town match.
But like also hopefully the loser. You know what I mean? Like everybody leaves town, but we have a match.
But also give me Mustafa Ali versus Roderick Strong in 20 minutes.
That's the thing.
And just let them go. And it honestly, like, oh my God, Mustafa Ali and Roddy Strong given 20 minutes and a license to do whatever they want to have the best match possible would be a match of the year contender in a friggin' high school gym. Like it doesn't matter what they're doing that in front of those two guys. There's two of the best workers in the entire world, and they've been employed by the same company for the last several years and never even been in the ring with each other. What the hell is this place doing? Anyway. That would slap. Like, that match would be absolutely incredible. And that was the feedback. They were like, they should actually do this, and that match would roll. And I'm like, I know what I'm doing here. Ricardo the Bot Guy says, look deep into Roddy's eyes. He wants out so bad. You don't even have to look that deep into his eyes.
Look in his eyes. What do you see?
Luis says
Roderick
that Harlem
Strong wants to leave.
Luis says that Harlem Bravado, who of course is who Andre Chase is, versus Chad Gable would be fun though. Sure, what if they actually let them wrestle? Okay, that's here's our main event segment.
It's time for the main event.
Now, I tuned out. Admittedly, I tuned out.
So did the crowd.
Joe Gacy cut a promo earlier in the night. I didn't hear what he said because I tuned out.
He was basically like, "Hey, I'm gonna win," but like in his weird Joe Gacy language, and saying like, "You shouldn't be scared of what happens if I win. You should be scared of what happens if I don't win." Yeah. Which for him, I thought was a good promo because it did at least like kind of call into attention, like, "Hey, I kidnapped this guy's dad. Like, this might be a little bigger than the title."
And the thing is that apparently they paid that off even though they didn't show it on television. So remember how Bron would come out and do, he like broke things on his way to the ring. He kicked over a big gold X.
Yeah,
and
did he
chainsawed through one. It was made out of styrofoam. And then he like lit another thing on fire. And then he like used chains to like pull something off a wall. Unless I missed something, the only thing he did tonight was turn a very big switch from off to on. Did he do anything else? Because there was a big switch that was comically large, and it had also comically large letters on it that said off and on, and it was in the off position, and he looked at it for like 10 seconds, very meaningfully, and then he flipped it on, and then he walked out to the ring, and I was like, ooh, symbolism? Question mark? Speaking of symbolisms and symbols, what was the Steiner? Is it Steiner math that he had on his tights? Is that what it was?
Yeah, the anniversary of the Steiner math promo was a couple days ago, so he had the Rick Steiner math singlet on, and I said I think it's really cool that he kept his mom's last name of Breakker.
Yeah.
And a nice like
to honor her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A nasty divorce between Bonnie Breakker and Rick Steiner.
That's good. What wasn't good was this, whatever this was. like it's fine, it's whatever. But like I feel like we're not breaking any new ground with Bron Breakker in a match like this, in a feud like this. It's time to like let this Bronson soar. Let's figure out where he's gonna go and get him there, because this feels like they're just spending time with this.
Well, this was just bad. Like, the match was decent enough. I think Joe Gacy's pretty good in the ring. He's definitely better than Harland is in the ring, but it was just weird because there was no explanation of why Harland was really gone. So you spent all of Joe Gacy's time building to a story that they went adjacent to, and then they had this whole insane thing with Rick Steiner that they went adjacent to there as well, because he was just kidnapped and then unkidnapped, and it was about a Hall of Fame ring to a Hall of Fame that doesn't exist and horny druids. Like, it got so convoluted, and none of it was really about the title match. So this just didn't have a ton of momentum going into it, especially with the releases, and especially with one of the releases being this guy's right-hand man. Like, I had assumed that the payoff of us not seeing him was going to be he snuck back into the picture somehow, not that he was getting released. That combined with them just having like more slower plotter ring styles. The crowd was super dead for this, unfortunately. A crowd that loves to go into business for themselves was like very not into this. So I think it was just like the story was bad going into it. I thought the match was decent enough. There were some really cool reversals that Joe Gacy had on. It was nice to see him pull out some submission stuff, because I think for someone that is trying to like hurt somebody more than they're trying to win the title, that's always a nice piece of storytelling. But there was just this didn't feel like a premium live event by any means. This didn't even feel like a main event, to be honest. Like, I felt like the first match kicked the shit out of this match, like not even close. So, but I don't think it's the fault of the performers per usual, and I don't think the match was bad. This just felt like a middle of the card, run of the mill match, which is pretty insane considering we've had horny druids and a kidnapping and various fires involved. So.
Yeah. So, Bron hit a spear. He ducked the weird handspring clothesline thing, which doesn't feel like it's a move that Joe Gacy, this character Joe Gacy is playing, should be using to win matches. It's not. It's an unnecessary handspring into the ropes to a clothesline. Like, it doesn't
clothesline him,
just clothesline him, or do a different move, like some kind of version of a pile driver would be much more. Like any kind of driver or neck breaker or something would be much more convincing as a finisher.
He's like
for this character.
A Moxley paradigm shifty type thing would be really, really cool for him. I feel like,
Anyway, so Breakker ducks that and then hits a spear and then wins. Whatever. But then he's standing in the ring with the title, and two guys wearing black robes. Thank God they weren't white robes. Because Matthew Plus sucks says, I did watch the ends. What were the guys in the crowd with the robes? Well, they got out of the crowd and they stood up on the apron menacingly, and Vic Joseph goes, "What the hell is this?" And then they left. The broadcast ended. So I guess there were some guys in druid robes with weird, like, red fencing masks who got up on the apron, and that's it. That was the end of the story, and nothing else happened, and we went home, and they all live happily ever after.
Yeah, like, I guess he's recruiting new people, which is what we've wanted. So that's good. Like, he should definitely have a stable if he's going to continue down this road with this character. But this was just a weird spot to do it, especially when that guy loses. Like, why do you suddenly want to be recruited to this loser? It's like the same thing I have with Chase University. Like, why are you going to lectures of a jobber? That makes no sense.
Yep. Yeah. Mark Will says, I think they should go all in with Bron's title defenses ending with increasingly more what the fuck endings. Next title defense, Aliens confront Bron and challenge him. The title defense after that, ninjas and yetis gang up on Bron as the show ends.
Well, we've seen ninja lumberjacks.
Yep, that's true.
Or zombie lumberjacks.
Zombie lumberjacks. Yeah. Mark Losper says, flipping a giant switch sounds better than this Godel mode shirt. The Godel mode.
God, on
greatness on a different level. Which, like, listen, if you want to make on one part of the acronym, fine. But if you do, you gotta make the L in level mode. Like you gotta make that part of the acronym. It can't be GODL also, but we're not gonna make the L. It's Godel or it's Godel. It can't be God mode.
I also have a problem with you being on a level and in a mode at the same time. Aren't those the same thing?
Yeah.
I've got problems.
That make a lot of sense. JW Pringle says, I have nothing to say about this mediocre main event. Wait, I guess I just did.
Well, thanks for your money.
Mark Losper says, ninjas and yetis is an escalation from aliens? Well, I guess it's the fact that like the ninjas and the yetis are coming together, are joining forces to take on our young man Bron.
You know what? The shit we saw tonight,
yep.
I'm fine with it.
Yep.
Begging for yetis and ninjas. Like, what are we doing?
I guess we're going to find out next week what happened with the druids. So Mark Losper says, yeah, Roddy Strong versus Mustafa Ali, sure, that'd be great. But hear me out, guys. Lash Legend and a boat versus a thirst trap and a skateboard genius. Just as good, right?
I don't want to take anything away from Nikkita Lyons, though. She's very good in the ring, and Cora Jade is decent in the ring. But duly noted, yes.
Yeah. She's yes.
As Sean said behind the paywall, and this was a very good point. Like, you don't have something for Dakota Kai, but you have this. This is the show you put on tonight. You don't have something for Malcolm Bivens, but this is the show you put on tonight. Like, yeah, like you can't find something for.
Mark Losper says, natural escalation from aliens, alien yetis.
Alien ninja yetis.
Mark Quill says, the ninjas and yetis are aliens, and they're also mummies. I mean, I think that tracks. I think that's yeah, definitely.
I don't mean to be rude, but like obviously.
Yeah. Roddy says, Orion Ben says, so you're telling me Roddy is a heel manager now? Sigh. I mean, I'm sure he's also going to work, but basically, yes, he is that. That's the thing.
Well, the confusing thing is it seems like they're splitting up Diamond Mine. Still.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah. Hey, what's that over there? Says Phoenix, Dante, or Darby should have been in the Battle of Super Juniors.
Definitely not Darby. I could see Dante, but like they got their thing going on over there. I'm not messing with it too much.
Yeah. Okay. So hold on. Graham B says WWE is more likely to repackage Uso 3 as Loomis 2.0 than they are to actually do anything good with him as part of the bloodline. That's true.
It's the one dynasty that they give a shit about, though. So
yeah. Nerd Guru says this whole show was terrible and I hated it. So I will just say that you should all check out the Blackpool Combat Club promo AEW put out. It is godlike and will make you find the nearest brick wall and run through it. Tom LaValle says, please talk about Regal's amazing promo on the Dynamite preview on YouTube. It was an absolute all-timer, and that's 2 weeks in a row for that preview. They're getting a new show, AEW is. It's going to be a behind-the-scenes deal. I think they should put these on that show that's on television and not on the YouTube. It's wonderful how much you guys like using the YouTube. But, like, there's just the YouTube. But they should put it on the boob tube because that's the thing that I watch all the time.
Oh, don't you ever. That is incredible. I don't want to spoil it for anyone out there, but definitely worth going and checking out. I'll also just say, and this isn't an AEW podcast, but I will say, I was really concerned about, I was like, how are they going to keep Danielson away from the title and still make him feel important? Because he's legitimately the best wrestler in the world.
Yeah.
This is how.
Yeah.
This is how.
Mark Losper says, given the way that this company works, Mummy Alien Ninja Yetis would still have a spear as a finisher.
Yeah. Or a roll-up.
Yeah. Jake Salazar says, if it's an NXT 2.0 review, it's not really a wrestling review. More like a badly made soap opera porno review. That's very good.
Correct.
Connor Murphy says, I'm a big fan of the Sour Graps community, but unfortunately, I'm rarely allowed to listen live. I just wanted to say that Alex's Tony D gives me huge Buddy Hackett Scuttle vibes. Gabagool. Gabagull is what he wrote. Get it? Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of Buddy Hackett. This guy over here who talks like this. It doesn't take too much to get over here like it's a dingo hopper. It's pretty easy to go from one to the other.
Thanks for sending in your chat. And you can always send in humper chats ahead of time, so you can't send in super chats ahead of time if you ever wanted to. But I'm glad that you could catch it live tonight. We always appreciate that.
Yes. Mark Losper says NXT isn't porn. Porn is compelling.
That's a good point. But if it's not compelling enough, go to bluechew.com and use the code FIGHTFUL at checkout.
Paul Elizabeth says, wise words from Reverend Pringle. All hail the SGS, Council of Marks, and Team Kalex.
Hi, Dad.
JW Pringle says that we are not like WWE. If you would like your release from the SGS, it's cool, man. Just go. Matthew Plus, I'm looking in your direction. Says JW Pringle.
We love the SGS Galaxy so much.
There you go. Ramon Rogers says, this is cracking me up. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much, Ramon. Tom Lavallee says, I'm not going to mention Catherine the Great. Now, she was a horse girl. Catherine the Great was the biggest horse girl there ever was.
She loved the horses. Any contract she had, she was running by her horses.
And the horses loved her.
Did they ever?
Mark Losper says, co-signed. I don't even know what that's about, but appreciated.
Yeah.
Mark Quill says, the best part of tonight, Buster Elizabeth's comments. The Nerd Guru says, congrats Kalex on the new gig. Yes, we got something coming to Jimmy Van's new Know Your News site where we're going to review bad, weird, crazy TV and movies. We're taping the first one tonight. It should be interesting.
Should we tell them now?
Yeah, I guess.
So, guys, because I'm terrible. There's this really, 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 really bad dating show called The Courtship, and it's on after Temptation Island, which is bad enough, but they have to live in Regency attire, and they have to follow Regency rules.
They live in a castle circa like 1890 something.
No. She lives in a castle. They're stuck in a cottage while she has a castle to herself, and her parents are there, and her brother is there, and her friends are there. And when you get eliminated, you have to do a last dance. It's the greatest, stupidest thing in the world. Yeah. And I made Alex watch it, and we're going to talk about it on this new show. And there's Humper Chats for that, right? And Know Your News.
I don't think there's there. I don't think that's set up fully yet.
We're going to test it out, you guys.
We'll test it out. We're just recording the first episode, so we'll see.
Yes.
Mark Losper says, "Oh God, Kate got her reality TV review show."
Yeah, I did.
Mark Quill says,
also, spoiler alert, wrestling's a reality show, kind of. Yeah. Like, come on.
Mark Quill says the real Godels are Paul, Kate, and Buster Elizabeth.
Thank you. My mom is Kathy Elizabeth, too.
Ramon Rogers says, yeah, I was every night, and yeah, it was awesome. It goes by rotation, and I have worked all over the country. I traveled now. I'm in the Army now, but yes, they have the Falcon. And the Wi-Fi is bad. LOL.
You paid money to tell us all that. God bless your heart.
You did.
We owe you free super chats in the future because I asked you a million questions and you paid money to answer them. Yeah. That is so interesting. So they rotate.
Mm-hmm. Apparently. Okay. All right. We only got one jukebox tonight. JW Pringle wants to hear Tony D sing Voices Carry by Till Tuesday. So here we go.
I'm in the dark. I'd like to read his mind, but I'm frightened of the things I might find. Oh, there must be something he's thinking of to tear him away, When I tell him that I'm falling in love, what does he say, Hush, hush, keep it down now. Voices carry. Hush, hush, keep it down now. Voices carry. I try so hard not to get upset because I know all the trouble I'll get. Oh, he tells me tears is something to hide and something to fear, And so I try to keep it inside so no one can hear. Hush, hush, keep it down now. Voices carry. Hush, hush, keep it down now. Voices carry. Gabagool.
Is there no Regal rap?
Nobody gave him a Regal rap.
I feel
Nobody
like
dropped
I
in a
should
Regal
request
rap.
one.
I mean, we got the time somehow.
I know, it's weird. It makes me itchy. I don't like it. What about Hit 'em Up Style? Oops, Hit 'em Up Style by Blue Cantrell? No?
No, I know. Oops, I did it again. I don't know. Oops, I hit him up style.
Hey, ladies, if your man want to get buck wild. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You
I-
have a
I-
radio.
I honestly do not.
Well, William Regal does.
Okay, well, here we go. William Regal doing that. While he was scheming, I was beaming in the beamer, just beaming. Can't believe that I caught my man cheating, so I found another way to make him pay for it all. So I went to Neiman Marcus on a shopping spree. And on the way, I grabbed Soleil and Mia. And as the cash box rang, I thought everything away. There goes the dreams we used to say. Oops, there goes the time we spent away. Oops, there goes the love I had. But you cheated on me, and that's for that now. There goes the house we made a home. Oops, there goes you'll never leave me alone. Oops, for all the lies you told. This is what you're owed.
I can't believe you don't know that song. And it's not really a rap, guys. I know. Calm down. I just picked something.
Tom LaValle says Mr. Wendell by Arrested Development. Okay, so here we go. This is the last one, and then we'll get out of here because we got another podcast to do. So we're gonna do this one and then this one.
We already did Rapper's Delight.
We did that one a long time ago.
Oh my god, I know that off the top of my head.
Here, have $1. In fact, no brother man here have $2. $2 means a snack for me, but it means a big deal to you. Be strong. Serve God only. Know that if you do, beautiful heaven awaits. That's the poem I wrote for the first time. I saw a man with no clothes, no money, no plate. Mr. Wendell, that's his name. No one ever knew his name because he's a no one. Never thought twice about spending on an old bum until I had the chance to really get to know one. Now that I know him, to give him monies and charity, he gives me some knowledge. I buy him some shoes, and to think blacks spend all that money on big colleges, still most of y'all come out confused. Go ahead, Mr. Wendell. War games.
War games.
Then we'll do that one. All right, here we go. Okay. I've already done this one before, but I'll do it again because it's fun. I said a hip hop, the hippie to the hip hop. Stop, don't stop the rock. The bang bang boogie. I say jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie, the beat. Now what you hear is not a test. I'm rapping to the beat. And me, the groove, and my friends are going to try to move your feet. See, I am Wonder William, and I'd like to say hello to the black, to the white, the red, and the brown, the purple, and yellow. But first, I got to bang, bang the boogie to the boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the bang, bang boogie. Let's rock, you don't stop. We'll rock the riddle that will make your body rock. Well, so far you've heard my voice, but I brought two friends along, and next on the mic is my man, Hank. Come on, Hank. sing that song. Check it out. I'm this K-San over and the rest is fly. You see, I go by the code of the doctor of the mix and the mist, and I'll tell you why. You see, I'm 6'1" and I'm tons of fun and I dress to a D. So I got my clothes in Muhammad Ali and I dress so viciously. I got 2 bodyguards, I got 2 big cars that definitely ain't the whack. I got a Lincoln Continental and the sunroof Cadillac. So after school, I take a dip in the pool, which is really on the wall. I got a color TV so I can see the Knicks play basketball. Hear me out talking about checkbooks, credit cards, more money than a sucker could ever spend, but I wouldn't give a sucker or a bum from the rucker not a dime till I made it to game. War games.
You can find me on Twitter at Miss Kingface. I am going to be on Pillar to Post tomorrow, though. I did want to promote that on Fightful Overbooked. It is our Around the Horn style show over there. It's going to be a blast. Jeremy hosts. I'm sure I will pick on him relentlessly. The newly engaged Jeremy, we're so happy. I also, in addition to your usual SmackDown AEW Rampage post show, have a commentary gig at Excite Wrestling, which you can find on Twitch on Saturday.
Somewhere in the multiverse. Well, where did this go? Come back. I can't read it. Somewhere in the multiverse. Eddie and Owen never died. ECW never shut down. Triple H runs WWE, and we don't hate what we all grew up loving. Thank you.
Everything sucks.
Everything sucks.